Hello, and welcome to another episode of my podcast. My name is Cheryl, and this is Cappuccino Crafts, my little channel on YouTube, and my corner of the general interwebs where I like to talk about knitting, and sometimes crochet, and books, and TV, and movies, and life, and general chatty things that I want to share with you. Thank you so much for choosing to watch this video and spend a little bit of your time with me. I really hope that you enjoy it. Please settle in, get yourself a delicious beverage, get out your yarn, your hook, your needles, your embroidery, your spinning, whatever it is, and let's enjoy a lovely visit together. So this is Monday, the 22nd of February. We are quickly approaching March, and wow, spring will be here before we know it. And it's gray and wet and cloudy here today, which is normal. That's normal for us, but I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you're enjoying your projects, and I wonder, what are you working on? What are your crafty projects right now? Or what books are you reading? I'd love to hear about it and chat with you in the comments about it. I am still just continuing on with my two projects. I've got the Fidelia. Here's the panel across the back, and the other side front. I am in the second repeat of that panel, pretty well into the second repeat, maybe approaching a third of the chart. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. And a lovely friendly viewer is Buddy Knitting this as well, and we are kind of just having a very relaxed, like, winter cardigan buddy knit happening right now. So if you are knitting your winter cardigan, I'd love to hear which one you're knitting, or if you're knitting the Fidelia, because it is a lovely pattern and I couldn't blame you for falling in love with it. So yeah. And the other project I am closing in on are the socks. Here are my socks. And the yarn that I'm using is from Mad Fuzzy Yarn. It was a sock set. Here's the second color for the heels and toes. And some people like to use the contrast for the cuff too, but I don't really care for a contrast cuff but I do like contrasting heels and toes. So this came as a set, and it is Mad Fuzzy yarn, the Pure Fuzzy base, which is 100% East Frisian wool. So there is no nylon or polyamide or bamboo or silk or any other kind of strengthening fiber to add durability. But East Frisian wool, those sheep have a coarser wool, and it's spun pretty tight. I think it should wear fairly well. But I'll probably be a little bit precious with these socks. One, because I have to hand wash them, and two, because I want them to last a long time, so I'll probably be careful wearing them. That's all the crafting. And I finished, let's see, I'm looking at my little list here. 1, 2, 3, 4 books. Now 2 of them I was already a good amount in, and they are not long books. So it's not like an amazing accomplishment, but it's been a good reading week. I started and finished Binti by Nydia Okorafor. And this is a novella, so it's a short one, a sci-fi out in space story about, I think she's like 17-ish, in that range, so a young person, a young adult, although it doesn't necessarily read young adult. I don't know. I'm not sure whether this would be considered adult or young adult. But she grew up in a very insulated community that doesn't like to interact with other cultures and other groups on kind of an Earth-like home planet, and it might be Earth. I can't remember if it's said, but yeah, they like to keep to their traditions and stay really insulated in preserving their culture and their unique way of doing things. And she sneaks out because she secretly applied and was accepted to a very prestigious university on a far-off planet that nobody from her culture has ever been gone to. And they're not really, it's not something that her parents support. That's why that she had to do it in secret. But she really has drive and curiosity, and she really feels like she needs to break out, and she wants to see the world, see other planets. She wants this exciting education to learn new things. And so she does. She runs away, and she gets on the shuttle to take her to the ship and leave the planet to go to this university. And then some very dramatic things happen on that. The ship is attacked by this species that has like a long-standing feud with humans. So they will happily attack all the human ships that they find. And it's a very I know, centuries long, like, feud and war between humans and the Meduse is the name of their species. And then she's got to figure out how to survive after the attack. And it's very interesting. It's a short novella, so there isn't a lot of time and space for like a lot of world building or development. But I feel like the world building and the character, at least for Binti, it really is focused on her and her character. The development that her character gets for the length of the story is really good. And the writing style is so beautiful, and you really feel like you're there and seeing all these new things, because Binti, is experiencing everything outside her home community for the very first time. And so it's kind of like this sense of wonder and curiosity, and you really feel immersed in all the in the ship and the different things that she is seeing and experiencing. So yeah, it's really good. Really good. I highly recommend it, and I plan to, there's a series of novellas, so I plan on finishing the series and seeing what further develops in Binti's journey. So that was one. I also finished Descender Volume 2, Machine Moon. So that was, I loved it just as much as I loved Volume 1. And we saw new places in the galaxy, got introduced to some new characters. The political intrigues are growing and getting more complicated. So yeah, it's getting even better and better. So I look forward to Volume 3, which I have right here ready to go. Now, isn't that a sinister face? Yikes. Yeah. And what I like about the politics in this series is that there's no one side that's like really great. It's definitely set up as biological species and life forms in the galaxy against the machines and the AI. So that's the main conflict, but it's all very complicated, and no side seems to really be like the heroes at all, and the characters are very morally gray, except for the Tim 21, the main android boy, is, because he was made as a companion to be in a family, he was assigned to and he lived as a companion for a young boy before everything like happened. He very much has that naive and innocent mind of a child. So he is not Grey, but he's trying to, and he's very trusting, but so, but that he's about really the only like not Grey character. So yeah, it's good. I also finished Taste of Sage, romance with between chefs, and it's got a lot of really great food descriptions. It will make you hungry, and it does include recipes if you feel like trying. And they're not like all they're not the kind of recipes that like are super technical and like really hard. So anybody who really enjoys to cook would probably feel pretty comfortable trying the recipes. But I was a little bit meh on this novel in the end. I felt like it couldn't decide on a tone because it did try to deal with some fairly dramatic and serious things. But then I felt like it didn't give them like the proper tone or the proper amount of time to really deal with it. It felt like really glossed over pretty fast, and then very quickly went back to a cute and happy rom-com. So yeah, the tone felt a little, so, and I ultimately did not like the Julian, the male romantic lead. I just never really liked him very much. I did mention last week that I kind of was concerned about flares of temper that he had several times that I felt like were maybe a problem and should have been maybe called out. He did mellow in the like last third of the book. He did mellow out, but it still was never like straight out said that there was a temper issue. And you're just left to kind of assume that the good influence of a loving partnership and romantic relationship was, helping him calm down a little bit and kind of smooth over some rough edges in his temper. But I felt like it should have been called out at least once. I would have been happy with that. And just made a little bit more clear that was not good. Even though, you did see him mellow, but you just had to assume, oh, well, it's the good influence of this, nice, loving relationship, making him happier. But I just, and I didn't feel his character was ever quite as well developed, even though there was, I really liked Lumi. And I felt like her character was better developed, and I really liked her and enjoyed her and her arc that she had. And she had a more definite arc than Julian did, for me. And then the last book that I finished was The AI Who Loved Me by Alyssa Cole. And this was an audio novella that I listened to on Audible. It's an Audible exclusive, original, and I really liked it so much. Yeah. And the tone did change. Like, I was talking about tone in the other book, and that like tried to change tone a little bit, and it didn't work for me. Here, the change in tone in the last third worked really well, because for like, it's not very long, so she couldn't be that slow, but it was slow for the length of this little audio novella. It was paced a little slower than you might expect, and it just felt like very much like a rom-com with a little bit of futuristic flavor. But then little things that she had been building during her setup with the characters and with other little, there's not a lot of world building, but there is some world building and some clues that you may or may not have paid attention to earlier. And then when everything hits the fan and the tone changes to really like sci-fi action time, and there's like some danger, it's a little more serious. And then I felt like she did manage that change in tone and that switch much better than in A Taste of Sage. But by the other author. These, they were written by two different people, but I feel like Alyssa Cole did that switch of tone really well in this. And the last third is like sci-fi action, and it's exciting, and I super enjoyed it. It was a full cast audio recording. I think last time I just gave two. Did I tell you the names? I don't remember what I said. I thought there were only two people doing the voices, but it was actually a full cast audio, and the audio production was really good, and it was really immersive, having all the different character voices, and there were bits of sound effects when you needed the sound, and it was just delightful. I really enjoyed The AI Who Loved Me. And then I did start a new book. I started the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, which is the first novel in a series. The series is called Broken Earth, and I'm not very far in it yet. I am listening to it on audio, which may or may not be the best choice. This is like intensive world building, and kind of one you have to like go for the ride before things really come together. So it's not the easiest read. It is a fantasy. There's some like earth magic where certain people are born with the power to like change the weather, affect the tectonic plates and cause earthquakes. and that kind of thing. So they can affect like the nature and the atmosphere and the geology and the planet around them. And people hate them because they're terrified of them. And there are prophecies that they bring about the end of the world. And so it's, yeah. So there are a lot of character POVs, and so I'm still kind of trying to like get acclimated to it and see how I go with the audio. And if I don't feel like I'm like understanding or following well enough, I might need to try and get it from the library in a physical print book. Because this is a really long book. I don't think I want to read it on my phone in a digital file. But I'm very intrigued. I am very intrigued by what is going on, and I'm looking forward to like finding out more. So that is the 5th season. And yeah, that's all the reading. Haven't been watching anything. I really haven't. And there haven't really been any like unusual things or holidays or things to talk about like that. So I believe we've come to the end. I hope you are well, and if you are in Texas, I hope that you are safe and you have clean water to drink. And yeah, take care wherever you are. And see you next time. Bye-bye.